Hey everybody, welcome back to the course. We're going to tackle first click attribution, a little trickier than last click, which we just solved. So I'm going to copy all that code, move it into a new tab, and get rid of this last click illustration and put this up here. And, you know, one thing you should do, I'm just going to keep this inner query and get rid of the outer query. Format that a little bit better. So one thing I like to do is write down in English exactly the steps I'm going to do before I write the code. That saves me a lot of time usually. So what are the steps we need to do? For each user, get their earliest session. Give all the transaction revenue and purchase credit to that session. So what do I need? I need like, let's just start with this. For each user, get their earliest session, and more specifically, end source medium for that session. So we have source medium, we have the revenue, we have the session ID. We want to get the time. How do we know the time, right? There's something called an event timestamp, and if we want to get the earliest session, I can't just use event name is equal to purchase. I need to go back to session start, because that's when their earliest session would have started if I could just figure out how to get their earliest session based on event timestamp. Now, I think what I'm going to do is there might be other ways to do it. I'm just going to rank. I'm just going to say, so let's just say row number. We're going to use a window function, and we're going to partition by the user pseudo ID. So we're doing this for every user pseudo ID, and we're going to order by the event timestamp. And we'll say that's ascending by default. It always is. I'll just leave it there as an explicit, because we're going from earliest to latest time as user session rank. And just to see how it all shakes out, let's confirm. Let's say order by 1 and 3. So for each user, what is their earliest session? And we'll run that. It's crunching through about a week of data. And yeah, let's just take a look. So I expand that. Okay, we have a user pseudo ID. We only have one for that user, but for this person, we have 2 rows. Which mean 2 session starts, and great. So yeah, this is their first event timestamp and their second. So we're just trying to get this for every user. Their user session rank is equal to 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call this with user first sessions, and I'm going to move all my code into that common table expression. And okay, so we're making progress. I'm going to say select all from user first sessions where, what did I call it? I called it user session rank is equal to 1. Whoops, I copied the wrong thing. User session rank equal to 1. All right. So let's check that out. And all right, so we've got session start, the earliest session start event based on the user timestamp for each user in this date window. Great. So what do I need though? I just really need like the user pseudo ID and the source medium. That's all I need, right? Okay. So what do I need now? I need the revenue from these people, right? So for all these people, if they made a purchase, I need to figure that out. So how would I do that? Well, I think it's all kind of in here, right? Like, let's zoom out a little bit, and I'll just say, well, let me just take this out. Let me take this out and comment this out. My goal is to make a table of user purchases. So I'm gonna try to make this table of user purchases. I'm gonna say where the event name is equal to purchase. I don't care about the user session rank. I don't necessarily care about the session ID. I'm going to be joining this back to this above logic on user pseudo ID. I don't really care about the timestamp. And I do care about purchase revenue. Do I care about the source medium? No. I'm giving all the credit to the source medium from the first session. So I don't care about that, frankly. So I'm going to get rid of that. I just want user pseudo ID, purchase revenue, and you know, let's say that there are a few transactions for any given user. You know, but let's just keep it all, right? Let's just group by one. And well, what do we need to do here? I mean, this is like, there could be multiple rows here, right? So let me call that as purchases. And it's not happy. The event params, it's neither grouped nor aggregated. So what I want to do is I'm counting all the rows for any user ID that has a purchase. I probably want to do a sum of this across all rows where they might have revenue. Okay, so that'll give me purchase revenue. And yeah, let's check it out. Let's just order by the user pseudo ID and take a look. Now we've got for each user, we have all their revenue, we have all their purchases, and this is looking good. Most users have one purchase. Sometimes we know the transaction doesn't have any revenue. This user has two purchases but no revenue. We're doing the best we can here. Great. So now, you know, I'm building the tables I wish I had, right? So let me go back up here. I've still got this common table expression. I've got, you know, this table now, and what I'm going to do is say user revenue summary as that. Let me, code is ugly without the indents. And what do I want to do here? So let me kind of zoom out so you can get a big picture view here if you want to pause it. User first sessions, user revenue summary. You know, if you're following along, just pause. How am I going to go and attach the revenue to the source medium from their first sessions? How am I going to do that? Well, I'm just going to select user pseudo ID, the source medium, where rank is equal to 1, right? I'm going to need to join user revenue summary. And let me alias my tables. I'm just going to call that user first, and I'll say, you know, that's f dot. It just helps because they have similar columns. That's just my preference. And how am I going to do that? I'm going to do it, well, am I going to do it on the pseudo ID? Why not, right? Can I say using in BigQuery world? Like, can we do using? Is that okay? I think it is. That's just like saying on f dot user pseudo ID is equal to and let me alias revenue. I'll call it r dot user pseudo ID. It's the same idea. But it's a little more compact in BigQuery land. So you might see that. All right, great. So what happens if we run this? What are we even doing? We don't have, you know, we don't have some key information here. I had thousands of sessions. Now, why do I only have 295 rows left? Well, that's because not all those people in those sessions ever made a purchase, right? We're doing an inner join. Do we want to do an inner join? Could we do a left join and see all the sessions still, regardless of whether or not they have revenue? We could, yeah. Now we have 20.9 thousand rows, but we need to make sure we add our columns from R. So we need purchase revenue and R dot purchases. And I'll order by 4 descending, just so we're looking at users who have purchased. And I think we'll be in good shape. All right, so this user was pretty busy. And now all that remains, frankly, is to take this table, select the source medium, and sum up these columns, right? It's actually, you know, it's pretty simple, and I think we could get rid of user pseudo ID, and we can just focus on source medium. We can sum the purchase revenue as first touch revs, and we can sum the purchases as first touch transactions. And now we need to group by, right? So we need to group by one. I'll order by the transactions descending. And I think we'll be in pretty good shape. Excellent. So now we have our first touch revenue. Lo and behold, source medium, first touch revs, first touch transactions. You could add average order value. You could do a lot of things with this. So let me zoom out. So you can kind of see this. Remember, I told you about a trick. If you ever want the code that's in front of you at any given time, just do a screenshot, right? Just screenshot the whole thing and paste it into Bard and say, please convert the image into code. And it does a pretty darn good job. The final thing we're going to tackle next is uniform touch attribution. And uniform touch attribution is like, everybody gets 1/3. So 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, including the session of the purchase. And of course, we're gonna sort of ignore handling, users with multiple purchases and like stepping back to the, order the session sequence that led to, you know what I mean? Like we're going to kind of ignore that fuzziness for now. We're just going to focus on how we can build a uniform touch model. So think about that. In the next video, we'll come back and we'll do it justice. See you then.